Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Marcos Villegas, Fight Up TV. Another edition of this Fight Up TV live chat that we do over here on the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in, for subscribing and supporting through over the years. Go ahead and hit the like and share, as we're going to have Mr. Lampley on shortly to preview this David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade card that is happening this Saturday at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Showtimes final pay-per-view. No more pay-per-views by Showtime after this. It's certainly the ending of another chapter of the continued story that is boxing, but a very big chapter, that's for sure. Go ahead and feel free to make yourselves known here on the chat. We'll get to some of your comments and questions on the chat as well. We're going to go ahead and recap. Let me give you a breakdown of the show. We're going to go ahead and recap the action over the weekend. We're going to play a clip of Shakur post-fight. We're going to get to the preview with Jim Lampley. We're going to get to an interview that we did with Ryan Garcia, and then another one that we did with Terrence Crawford. So some good stuff in store for you guys that are watching. Do me a big favor, though. You got to hit the like and share and let people know that we're on live. And I want to share another thing with you guys that are watching with us. We're running a contest, and we've done this with our partners, Stagefront VIP, that have helped the channel tremendously over the last year with a lot of things. And I'm really grateful that we have them as a sponsor. Now, Stagefront VIP, they sell tickets to the fights exclusively for the matchroom fights, but they sell VIP experiences as well. And they're pretty cool. I had a chance firsthand to kind of experience like one of their VIP package experience. And what it is you get tickets to the fight, you get signed merch, access to their, I want to say VIP pre-party, and then a meet and greet with the fighters that are there. It's really cool. But, you know, we did a giveaway for the Canelo Triple G 3 fight in Vegas. We did another giveaway for the Anthony Joshua fight when he fought Jermaine Franklin. And we're doing one for this Pro Grace versus Haney fight that's happening in San Francisco. We are giving away 2 VIP tickets for that fight. It's a contest. It's absolutely free to enter. Just go ahead. You got to be followed to us on social media. You got to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter, and be subscribed to the channel. With that, there's a link to go ahead and enter the contest. Go to our Instagram page. The link is on there. Or go to our Twitter. The link is on there to go ahead and enter the contest. I'll go ahead and drop the link also here in the chat for you guys. So you guys that are watching can go ahead and register. There's going to be a winner. I'm personally going to call the winner, whoever wins this. Now, I've then done this on 2 occasions already where I've called the winner personally to congratulate them for winning the VIP. And this is, you know, big ups to Stagefront. They're the ones that are putting this together. Oh, man, YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos. Hold on a second. This is not hold on a second. Is that why your guys' comments aren't showing up on here? All right, let me see some. No, this is not private video. YouTube always be doing some weird ass stuff. Okay, here's the chat. Boom, right there for you guys. That's the link to go ahead and enter the contest. So do me a big favor. Enter. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to win these 2 tickets to watch Haney versus Pro Grace live. If I was a fan, if I wasn't the founder of Fight Up TV, I would totally go ahead and do it. But over the weekend, had some fights. Navarrete versus Consensao, which was it was interesting in a sense that part of me is like, yo, he knocked this dude down twice. How did he not win the fight? And the other part of me is like, well, when he won those rounds, he won big, but the other rounds, he really didn't do anything. So it cancels each other out. I'm okay with the decision, with the draw. I think it was fair. I'm not bent out of shape. I think the fans were more in agreement there in Las Vegas with the result of the fight. Should there be a rematch? I think so. It kind of threw a wrench in the plans of Top Rank. I think they were positioning Navarrete to go and fight Shakur Stevenson. Granted that they both looked really good in their fights. And, this Conceição fight really made Navarrete, I don't want to say vulnerable because he's always been vulnerable. We see his style. He has a very weird, tricky style, man. I don't know how this guy. Well, I know how he has a big punch and he's usually a lot bigger, a lot longer than his opponents. But that's going to start canceling each other out as he starts moving up the weight class, and I think it already has. And I think ultimately, the buck will stop with Shakur when they fight. But rematch, I think it's granted. I think they'll both make adjustments. I was talking to Navarrete's promoters after the fight, and they asked me like, "Hey, how'd you see the fight?" They obviously, I would say they're a little biased. That they want their guy to win. They felt that their guy won, and they brought up the knockdowns, which I agreed with them. But then I was like, "Yo, dude, like, all right, when he won rounds big, but like he got a knockdown. Like he's not gonna get a 10-7 round with those rounds unless he knocks him down twice again or just beats him to nearly a pulp to get that extra point." And I'm like, look, the first 4 rounds, he didn't throw anything. It was Conceição being active. The other rounds, Navarrete would win round big, and then the next round, he wouldn't build on that momentum, and he would lose the round to Conceição. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Steven, keep up the great work and content. Brilliant having Jim on. Make it a regular feature. I'm trying to, man. It's hard to. The hardest part is getting you guys on here because I know everyone's busy with their lives and everything like that. The other part is coordinating the guests on here to come at the right time. That's the hardest thing. Is that, and the other thing too is just overall, it's in order for me to have this show the way I want it. Like I can do live chats and I can do a weekly live chat, where I just answer your guys' comments and questions and all that. That's not a problem. But I've always wanted to have an interview show where we just have on a guest or two, talk for like an hour and a half, But in order for me to do that, I really need the support of you guys. I really need the support of the industry and some sort of financial backing to do it the way I want to do it. But yeah, the hardest part is getting guests on the time you're supposed to get them. And it's so hard to pinpoint people. And I understand people are busy. Fighters are in camp. They're in training camps. It's hard to get a hold of them as well. So, breaking news. Adrian Broner suffers hand injury, is off December 2nd, Don King card. I didn't even know he was fighting on December 2nd. Oh, wow. Okay. But yeah, keep supporting guys and keep sharing, keep liking, and keep showing up. Hopefully this is more of a consistent thing. And I apologize. This is something I should have been doing years and years and years. But like I mentioned, I want to have some sort of extra value for you guys. Obviously, that's guests. I want to have guests for you guys that are giving you guys new information, breaking news, or it's entertainment that it helps pass the time, pass your day in some sort, or it helps enhance your life in a way. And yeah, part of it is interacting with you guys. I could do that with the chats, but it's just the perfectionist in me. Like I really want to put out something that's of value to you guys. So keep supporting, guys. Please keep sharing, enter that contest. The more people we get on here, the more confidence it gives me to show to potential sponsors, be like, yo, we need to have this as a regular show every week. Look at the amount of people that I have on here live every time. Look at the views that ends up, racking at the end, to show not only sponsors, but also the fighters to be on here at the time we need them to be on here as well. So with that being said, man, Shakur Stevenson fighting over the weekend in let's be honest, a boring fight. It was terrible. It was bad. And I got to give props to Shakur. He was accountable for it. Post-fight, he said, yeah, man, I had a terrible experience. Bad night at the office, man. Like, no excuses. And I find that that takes a lot for a athlete to hold themselves accountable over a performance like that. Usually they're very combative over criticism and over their performances. It's always perplexed me as to why, but I feel like athletes in general are like that. They are very, I don't want to say protective. very combative, embracive over criticism. And I think because they're so passionate about their craft, and they've spent so many years dedicating their lives to that craft. And they're like, who are you to tell me what I did well and what I did not do well? You're not in my shoes. You haven't done this. And yeah, they're right. 1,000% right on that point. But when you're in that arena, when you're in that position, it comes with the job, man. Every single sportsman gets criticized in every single sport that they play. And this has been going on since sports has been broadcast throughout the world, and there's been a working press corps around sports. But Shakur, accountable, grabbed his balls, manned up, and said, it wasn't a good night. That wasn't the best of me. And he wasn't making any excuses. And so many people in that position would have made an excuse. And from what I heard, he had a legitimate out for that performance. You know, there was whispers that he came into the fight hurt, that he had injuries. I'm not privy to the telecast on ESPN, but I think Mark Kriegel had mentioned that something's wrong with his hand. I asked Tim Bradley after the fight, hey, did you know if Shakur was hurt? He said no, but, you know, doing this for a long time, you kind of know, you develop what I call like a BS meter. And you kind of know when people are lying to you, you know, at least I've developed one. And I could tell that something was off there when I just could tell by the tone of his voice. Hello, fans. What's up? MAW. What up, bro? What's going on? With that, man, I just really want to condemn the kid, because especially now the youth, this generation, the youth, the not even that, the 16 to like 25-year-olds currently right now, accountability is not their thing. They come up with so many damn excuses, and they don't want to be held accountable to things, you know? And it's so freaking frustrating, man. And I don't know what it is. You know, a lot of the blame is the people from my generation, raising these kids in a safe space environment where everything they do is okay. Everything they do, like, everything's a good job. You know, you're the best. You're special. Like, no, bro, you're not. Like, you got to be, you know, you messed up. You got to own to it. Like, yo, I messed up. I'm sorry. And then what can I do to improve from this mess up? And I think that's the sense that I got from him post-fight, from Shakur. So big ups to him for that. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip of what he told us post-fight, at the fight, after the fight, excuse me. But there's another silver lining that I found on this performance that I was kind of like, damn, man, like, Shakur's really freaking good. All right. So the rumor was that he came into the fight injured. He had something messed up with either his shoulder or his hand, okay? And that's what caused him not to throw a lot of punches. That was causing him to primarily just jab and move around. So Edwin De Los Santos, big puncher, man. The guy can hit, okay? He had both his weapons. And a lot of this falls on him too. And it just shows you how good Shakur is, where he's able to fend off pretty much a lion with the chair, with his jab. You know, imagine being locked up in a cage with a lion, and he's coming after you, and you're able to fend him off for 36 minutes. That's pretty much what Shakur did. Dude, yes, it was boring. It was not a visually pleasing fight to watch. Shakur hasn't had fights like that in a long time. The last few fights have been very exciting, very good. And he is a lot better than that. And he even admitted he's a lot better than that. So that's why I'm not crucifying the kid over that. But it showed me how damn good he was, that he's able to nullify such a big puncher like De Los Santos like that with just a freaking jab for 36 minutes over the course of 12 freaking rounds. Kid got skills. That to me impressed me even more, to be honest. That takes some serious nerves of steel and some serious skills to be able to pretty much disarm a puncher like De Los Santos. Fair criticism towards the performance, but criticism should go towards De Los Santos as well. Bro, you weren't injured. Well, okay, we don't know that. Every fighter comes in with injuries. That's true. But you had both weapons, bro. You're a big puncher. You could have done a lot more also. There was rounds where he wasn't doing much either, you know? So some of this should be targeted towards him as well. But let's go ahead and get to what Shakur was saying. Hopefully, I'm able to run the right clip. Let's see which one it is.
Congratulations, Shakur.
Appreciate it.
There you go.
Don't congratulate me on a bad performance.
Well, why do you feel it was a bad performance coming from you?
It just wasn't me, man. I had a lot going on. I ain't gonna make no excuses. It was a good fight. Just a bad performance and not my standards.
Is your hand hurt?
I ain't. It's all good. Like I said, I don't make no excuses. I own up to everything. I was supposed to put on a better performance than that.
What about your performance were you disappointed about?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I just know I'm a better fighter than what I was tonight.
Do you feel like
Sam, what do you feel like you could have done better, Sam?
Like I said, I'm a better fighter. I can't get into details. Like I ain't got no excuses to make to y'all. Bad night. Go back to the drawing board and come back.
You mentioned in the ring afterwards that you didn't feel good. What was going on in the locker room before the fight that you didn't feel
Like
good?
I said, I'm not giving y'all no excuses. I can't do that. That's not me. So we walked out victorious. We got the win tonight. I done seen Floyd in situations where he had bad performances versus Carlos, Valdemir, other fighters, and he just got the win. And that's all I was thinking. If Floyd could go in there and get the win on a bad night, I could too.
Did De Los Santos do anything to take you out of your game?
Nah, hell no. De Los Santos is a good fighter. He was just being more so. Y'all act like I was being scary. He was being scary than the motherfucker too. So it's all good.
What adjustments did you have to make in there, if any, prior to what you were thinking you were going to do in the fight?
I just had to take control. There was a certain point in time where I told myself, take control. Don't give him shit, and make sure that I land when I get my opportunity.
We saw Floyd and Andre back in the dressing room with you. What did they say to you before?
Yo, that's dope. I got Floyd to come to a top rank fight.
What did he say? What did he say? Any words of encouragement or?
Yeah. He came here to support me. I appreciate Floyd. I apologize to him. I apologize to Andre Ward. I apologize to Terrence Crawford. All my idols, I put on a bad performance. They came out to see a great performance. I put on a bad one. So.
But you got to admit that was a dope picture, though. Like, you know.
Yeah. It's all love. Like I said, I came here. I gave him all.
Do you feel like you've been in the gym a little too long?
You felt this, you felt a certain way, and at a certain point, you felt like you were going to box. What point did you know, like, you weren't feeling good and wanted to start boxing?
Shit, I knew before I came here. I knew before I came here. I told people already, but like I said, I can't make no excuses, man. It is what it is. I talk so much shit. I gotta eat whatever come with it, man. So.
Shakur, we understand that you're not making excuses, and we're not asking you to make an excuse, but you were setting up some shots with some quick right hands, and you had some openings for the left. Is the left hand bothering you?
Man, I'm not giving y'all nothing, man. Like I said, I'm not gonna make no excuses. I came here tonight. I did what I had to do. We came out victorious. Edwin is a hell of a fighter. I give him his credit. Y'all good defense, and he's a great fighter.
Do you think people will want to fight you now? Every time someone says they have a bad performance.
I love it.
Now they want to get in the ring with you.
Hopefully, that's what it's supposed to be. I've been saying they've been waiting for a wrinkle in my game, so hopefully that they see a wrinkle in my game and now they give me opportunity.
Did you catch another Benavidez fight earlier?
Yeah.
That's a fight you said you didn't want to talk about, but eventually that fight could be made instead of Loma.
Yeah, but he just got a draw with Robson.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you think it was a draw?
Yeah, I actually thought Robson was winning besides the knockdowns. Every time he got knocked down, he kind of messed up, but it was a lot of times he was connecting with a lot of shots, so I saw a close fight. I can't say who won. I saw a close fight, though.
Are you interested in rematch?
In the rematch with Edwin? I mean, it was a bad night and I won, so...
I know it wasn't the performance.
Catch me on a good night, I don't know.
I know it wasn't the performance you wanted to have, Shakur, but it's another title, another division. What do you think about that?
Man, I don't care about that. These belts collect dust. I care about being great. So I really critique my performances off of what happens in the ring. I won. I know I'm coming here to win. I'm going to win regardless. That's what's going to happen every time out for me. That's what I come here to do. But honestly, I ain't tripping out the little belt.
Yeah.
Shakur, what's a positive critique you give yourself after this fight?
I got a great jab.
Were you surprised?
Fast.
Were you surprised you're able to do that with just your jab to a fighter like him?
Yeah, he's a good fighter too. He's a good fighter. Like I said, don't give me no credit. I don't want no credit. This was a bad performance. Let's not turn it to a good one.
Shakur, you said that hopefully they saw holes in your game. Do you feel you showed any holes in your game today?
I mean, I don't know. I gotta go assess the performance. I gotta go watch it, see what I was doing wrong. But it's up to other fighters to see that.
I've never heard a champion win a fight, win a belt, and apologize so much. Like I mean, I feel like you gotta give yourself some credit.
Now I hold myself to very high standards. I eat sleep shit boxing.
You feel like you
Sorry, are you alright?
always in on
I eat, sleep, shit, boxing. So I hold myself to a high standard. I work hard day in, day out. I've been training since April the 8th, since my last fight, to be honest. So that's a long time of training, sparring with Bud, going to his training camp, working with him, leaving. Honestly, I just hold myself to so high of standards that I'm not accepting this performance.
Is that something you're going to do a little bit different?
I know you press out of a fight. You press out of the fight, but is there anybody specific you want?
You ain't trying to say the name.
No. Anybody.
Man, look, like I said, I fight anybody for sure, but as of right now, I want to go back to the drawing board, critique myself, look at myself, see where I went wrong, and work on my game.
You mentioned in the ring afterwards that you need the rest and you'd like to take some time to avoid, where injuries would come in. Do you have a timetable of how long you'd like to take off?
Shit, I feel like 2 months. Like I said, I've been training since April the 8th, sparring the kids in the gym, sparring. Like I said, Bud, going to Vegas, sparring people. I sparred. I've been working constantly. So, I need the rest of my body recover.
Okay, we're gonna do one more.
When you get booing from the crowd?
When I hear a booing, I don't care. I seen the greats get booed. I seen Andre Ward get booed. I seen Floyd get booed. I seen Terrence Crawford. Go watch his early fights in his career when he was outboxing people and they wanted him to stand there and trade. I seen him get booed. So I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, some nights you're gonna have these nights, and then some nights they're gonna love you. So the nights that they love me, I can't wait for them.
Will you continue in lightweight or super lightweight?
Super lightweight?
Yeah, 140.
Hell, come on, man. I'm damn near 140 tonight. Shit, fuck, I'm gonna fight 140 right now.
Can you talk about your Prime sponsorship?
Oh yeah, shout out to Logan Paul. Definitely appreciate him for the Prime. We doing it big. I probably performed bad tonight, but I am one of the best fighters in the sport of boxing. So
You told us
believing
that you're apologizing, but can you tell the fans that they don't know really your performance, what was going on with you? Can you?
Nah,
all right, guys.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
No, not tell them why, but like just apologize.
I apologize to my fans. I apologize to everybody if I had a bad performance. If y'all felt I could have did more, I did too. So sorry.
Yeah. Once again, congratulations.
Congratulations, even headlining T-Mobile.
That was Shakur Stevenson. And yeah, look, he's being accountable. He apologized to the fans about that performance, man. And I feel that that's how it should be done. And he set an example to other athletes of other boxers of his generation, his age, that, yeah, man, if you have a terrible night at the office, just admit it, bro. Like, just man up and be like, yeah, dude, I had a bad performance. It is what it is. And let's go ahead and move on. Let's see here. Some of your guys' comments, not too pleased about what he said and stuff like that. But you guys want to hear what Tim Bradley had to say about this performance? I have a clip of Tim Bradley speaking on the performance. And this is the other thing I've always wanted to know. How much is Prime paying these guys to wear those necklaces? Are they making like separate necklaces? Like, are those all solid 14 karat gold with diamonds, or is that like legit? That's what I want to know. How much Prime is paying these people? Let's go ahead and roll that clip with Tim. Let me see if this is the right. Nope, that is not it. Still getting the hang of this thing, guys. Still getting the hang of this. Let me go ahead and run the clip with Bradley. Here we go.
It happens. I mean, you know, you never know how you feeling. Sometimes, you know, we don't get passes when you box.
And it's all,
you know
it's all on.
It's all on you. So I mean, he was able to deal with that. Anyhow.
Did they tell you, Tim, that his hand was hurt?
No.
No?
They got to move his hand out the way. Just got over there. Who would you like to see Shakur box?
Who? Shakur?
Yeah.
Tank.
Who poses the greatest danger to
Tank.
Not Haney. Not
Tank.
Not Haney or anything?
Tank. I believe Tank does. Because Haney is not a big puncher. 1, 2. Haney's going up to 140 pounds. I don't think him coming back down. I mean, I see all the weight he's putting on. But Tank is a guy, man. Tank's the guy I want to see Shakur fight next. However, I already know what it's going to be. You know, Shakur definitely knows that he's going to have to take short money if that was going to happen. They're going to use that against him. I get it. They're going to say, well, look, you don't sell out no arenas. You don't bring anything to the table, so why? They're going to say, you're going to run all night. You're going to this. So, you know, they're going to say everything they possibly can for the fight not to happen. But I think the fight should happen. I still want to see, you know, who can win that battle. Again, my money's on Shakur. I think the defense wins championships. I could be wrong. Tank is an animal. He can fight. But he has yet to be in the ring with a guy that's as smart as Shakur and a guy that's on his level, IQ level. So, but the punching power of Tank. And my man Sean alluded to this. My man Sean, he said, like, hey, it seems like a repeated thing. You know, anytime Shakur gets in the ring with somebody that can punch, this is what he does. You know, he fight off the back foot. Yeah. But however, I could just tell you this. This guy had punching power all the way through the fight. And as a fighter, and I fought guys that had that thud all the way through the fight, and you're cautious. And you don't want to throw power punches, because when you throw power punches, you leave yourself exposed most of the time. You leave yourself open. Throw a power shot, you miss. Now you're exposed for a big shot or a big counter. Shakur knew that. This guy had quick reactions. You know, this guy can punch with either hand. He felt that. He truly felt that. And so he's extremely cautious during the course of the fight. Plus, on top of that, he said he didn't feel well. You know, I don't know what was going with him emotionally. I don't know what was going, how he was feeling. So that's another thing. And then another thing is that he only threw like 27 left hands. And what I heard in the past was, well, going in from Mark Prigo is that his hand was hurt. His hand was hurt. So he had went to one of his sparring sessions, his hand was hurt. And so maybe that's the reason why he didn't throw the left hand. But there's no excuses at the end of the day, man. I'm trying to make for Shakur Stevenson. For me, just for me, I think that he's blessed us with, you know, 3 or 4 great performances where he stood and he exchanged with guys and he was confident and he was there and he put on some great performances. So I'm not holding him to this performance. You know what I mean? Like, I know everybody gonna say, oh, this and that. Everybody gonna say what you want to say. You know, I know everybody was probably looking for me to bash him and so on and so forth. I've already done that. Shakur's not happy with his performance. So understand that. He's been there before. He's been here before. And trust me, this young man, he will bounce back. So
he takes accountability.
Of course. But that's what true champions do. But again, everybody has off nights. Tonight was his night. You know, it was off tonight. But again, I look at the performances that he did before in the past, and I'm like, bro, I'm still a fan. I still believe in you. You know, and a lot of people might jump ship and be like, Shakur ain't nothing, you know, and they might jump on somebody else. But not this guy right here. I'm a Shakur Stevenson fan. You know, I think he has the goods, and I think he's going to be pound for pound #1.
He still dominates 135.
Oh yeah, I still got Shakur. Because defense, you can't hit him. You can't hit him, bro. Like, Tank got the bomb, but if Tank can't land that bomb or figure out a way to land that bomb, then how is he gonna beat him? You know what I'm saying?
What about 140? 140, same story?
I don't know. I really don't know. You know, you gotta watch him, you know, mature a little bit, get a fight there, see how well he does with the weight class. 140 is a beast weight class, bro. It is. It's a beast weight class. You know, you see Haney going up there and he's testing his waters, and he's taking a dangerous opponent. You know, in Regis Prograis, who can punch with either hand. You know, I tip my hat off to Haney. Haney's a beast. He really is. He's a
Tim,
beast.
when you see,
No.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Go ahead, bro.
How does Benavidez Bubu go next week?
Oh yeah.
That's a great fight. That's a really good fight. I'm leaning more towards Benavidez because he has experience at 168 pounds. I would say Bubu. I think he has a good chance. I think early on, I think he can box. He can mix it up. He can be aggressive early on, and he can sweep some of the early rounds. But he has a tendency, and this is MO, to kind of fade and kind of fall asleep on the back end of the fights, on the back end of his fights, and he did that at 160. He did that at 54 as well. So, but if Bubu is extremely conditioned, worked extremely hard, if he's in tip-top shape, he can, and if he can stay on his feet and not get dropped or knocked down, and at least win 7 rounds out of 12, he can win the fight. But again, that motor gets going, that punching power, that consistency and the volume and just the punch choices that Benavidez make, and he has, because he has a full arsenal and he changes speeds up on you too. I gotta go with that.
What about Benavidez,
Charlo? I don't know.
Influence says Benavidez got to clear out here.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
All right, having a little issue there on transitions. I apologize about that, but that was Tim Bradley after the fight. There, we caught up with him, and perfect segue for Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. Him touching on, I think what's on the minds of a lot of fans is, how is Andrade going to deal with the pressure, the volume, the activity of a David Benavidez when it comes to the late rounds? And he's really putting those numbers up, those total punches thrown, those stats up on an Andrade that hasn't been very active the last few times. And, I've even asked him, like, a lot of people are maybe wondering, are you past your best days given the performances you put against less than your level of competition? And he's like, dude, I fought to my level of competition. Like, I'm going to be up for this. And I do believe him. I believe that he's going to be more than up for this. And I do expect a very good and competitive fight. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the preview of this. Let's go ahead and hear from Jim Lampley, who's joining us right now. Bring him up on here. So give me 1 second while I attempt to do this so we could hear. Hey everybody, how's it going? Marcos Villegas for Fight Up TV, powered by Stagefront VIP, being joined with Jim Lampley, friend of boxing, Hall of Famer. Jim, it was so good to see you ringside again in Vegas, and I know it meant a lot to a lot of boxing fans seeing you there ringside, just seeing your presence, overall at a boxing event. You're back again doing this live chat with PPV.com for this Benavidez versus Andrade fight. I want to get your thoughts, overall previewing this fight, but how good did it feel to be back ringside at a fight?
Well, it was great. And I'm happy to hear you say that fans or others in our fraternity liked it, but I sure liked it. It had been a long absence, and it was thrilling to see so many of my old friends and the people who helped me to develop some perspective and understanding on boxing, which is a constant learning process. And I really enjoyed being at ringside with Lance Pugmire, offering commentary and observations for PPV.com. Looking forward to doing it again for Benavidez versus Andrade.
Yeah, when you look at this Benavidez versus Andrade fight, what do you think about it? And what's the most intriguing aspect story-wise with this fight for you, Jim?
Well, obviously, the intrigue lies in the expectation that the winner is a logical opponent going forward for Canelo Alvarez. Maybe the next opponent, maybe a future opponent, but one way or another, the winner of this fight, particularly if he looks good doing it, is going to be someone about whom the fight public is going to think, all right, Canelo, you need to fight this guy. And that's what we need to keep interesting narratives going, both in the 168-pound weight class and in the pound-for-pound sweepstakes. And both Andrade and Benavidez are interesting fighters with stories of their own. Andrade is seen, and I think somewhat justifiably, as a guy who's been avoided by a lot of potential opponents among more celebrated names in the sport because of his style. Tricky southpaws don't get invited to the party with enormous enthusiasm. Usually, tricky southpaws get invited to the party when somebody says, you know what, we can't avoid it any longer. He's made his case. And that's certainly the position that Andrade thinks he's in at this point in his career. Benavidez is the opposite. He's the kind of guy that everybody wants to come to the party. Attractive, physically, very engaging personality, fights in the style that people most want to see, a go-forward aggressor. There are a lot of things to like and to root for about David Benavidez, and that helps to set up an interesting confrontation in Las Vegas.
You know, it's interesting, and it's so true that what you just mentioned is, you know, both these guys actually have been avoided by a lot of fighters, and I don't know, I don't like to say like that a fighter's scared to fight a fighter, because you know, that's what they do. They fight for a living. They're not scared to fight anybody. Now, if a fight doesn't make business sense for a fighter when they get to a certain level, now that's a different situation. But these two guys, Benavidez and Andrade, have been two fighters that the public has been wanting Canelo to fight for a very long time.
Yes, and again, eventually, is one of them is going to have the constituency and the audience power to really make a case that he should be the next opponent. But of course, when you talk about Canelo choosing an opponent, that's not just Canelo. That's his trainer. That's the management structure. That's the promoter. That's all of the business interests and people around you. And, you know, going back to my initial television experience in boxing, covering Mike Tyson's first network appearances at ABC, Tyson wasn't choosing those opponents. Bill Caton and Jimmy Jacobs chose those opponents. So you've got to appeal to the brain trust constituency in order to get the promised land. And in Benavidez's case, punchers are commonly avoided. In Andrade's case, tricky technical southpaws are commonly avoided. They're both from a category of fighter that the brain trust will often say, you know, unless we're forced to do this, there are other choices here. Canelo had a really, as it turned out, attractive choice in the smaller Charlo, who had enough of a public following and enough of a record coming in to convince the public, or a lot of it, that it wasn't a bogus matchup, but who, as it turned out, once he got into the ring, couldn't really threaten Canelo in a way that would make Canelo uncomfortable. It turned out to be an easy win for Alvarez. Is Andrade an easy win? Well, if you look at what Canelo experienced against Erislandy Lara and Trout, Austin Trout, maybe not. Maybe that's not such an easy matchup for Canelo, and there might be somebody in his brain trust who's saying that. Benavidez appears to have the kind of punching power that could spell trouble for any opponent on any one punch. People don't run to fight punchers. So the audience loves him. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so what is going to happen, Jim? You got a guy in Andrade who's slick, who understands distance, can control you with his jab, can, even though in the recent fights, he hasn't used his legs as much as he did before, versus a guy who's pressure, who's going to drown you with volume as the fight gets on later and later and later on.
The great thing is that we don't know what's going to happen. It could be that Benavidez's pressure is in fact going to beat down the opponent and put Andrade into a position in which he has not previously found himself. The other possibility, of course, is that this is another comfortable cruise for the counterpunching southpaw, who's able to stay out of danger range and land when he wants to, and can, you know, inch his way toward a decision that the public won't necessarily love, but might have to concede is the logical decision. I think the majority of the audience is going to be rooting for Benavidez. I think that the majority of times that I've seen this kind of matchup in the past, the counterpunching southpaw has won.
Okay, okay. Is there an asterisk there? Where
the asterisk is how big is Benavidez's punch really? You know, you're always testing against a new constituency when you go in as the puncher, hunting the other guy's chin and looking to do damage. If the other guy has never really been badly hurt in a fight, and I think that describes Demetrius Andrade, then it remains an open question. If Andrade walks out of the ring and has not been badly hurt by Benavidez, how many of us think that Benavidez can win a decision against a boxer that skilled under those circumstances? Most likely, Benavidez has to hurt him. Andrade hasn't been hurt before. What happens?
Yeah. What happens? The other part of me too is, just the overall sheer volume of punches that Benavidez throws, and that, it might force Andrade to work at a higher punch volume than he's used to. And that in turn could maybe down the stretch make things really, really interesting.
Well, interesting goes to another level when you consider some of the possibilities, particularly for Benavidez. I spent a few years with a great and decorated Oscar-winning Mexican screenwriter trying to put together a television drama series for HBO about a Mexican-American kid who ultimately rises to a level where he's a threat to become the heavyweight champion of the world. In my conversation with Benavidez last week, I asked him, do you have in your heart an ambition to perhaps someday fight as a heavyweight, given that he occupied that weight level when he was 13 years old, before he lost 80 pounds to get down to the kind of condition in which he now finds himself? And he said, yeah, sure, that's in the back of my mind. Why wouldn't it be? A Mexican-American heavyweight championship contender who looks like Benavidez, talks like Benavidez, and fights like Benavidez would be one of the biggest stars in the entertainment world and one of the biggest stars that boxing has ever seen. But that's getting way, way ahead of ourselves. In order to get in a position to begin to move toward that kind of horizon, he has to beat Demetrius Andrade. And if some boxing insider came to me and said, you got to favor Andrade to win the fight, I'm not sure I would argue that vehemently against that.
Yeah, you might get Andy Ruiz popping in the chat being like, yo, Jim, I'm here already. I'm that guy, that Mexican American. I was already heavyweight champion.
Well, it's one thing to be a heavyweight champion. It's another thing for the public to buy you as the consensus heavyweight champion. I'm not sure that enough of the public bought Andy Ruiz as the consensus heavyweight champion at that time. There were other people in the division who had a claim of some sort. So I don't think he was in position to coalesce the audience the way the audience would want to coalesce about somebody or around somebody who more looks the part, who more portrays the persona that you want. Andy Ruiz was one thing. That was an anomaly. David Benavidez, that's matinee idol type heavyweight contender.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if David were go up to heavyweight. I had a chance to see him in camp, and I actually asked him that too. Like, hey, do you ever see yourself going up to heavyweight? Just seeing that you're a big guy for a Mexican with a bigger frame. And yeah, he had the same thing where like, hey, well, let me think about 68 first and then 75. And then, those other weight classes, they're coming, but let's see how I do here at first. In terms of,
pleased to hear that you and I are of like mind about the situation.
Well, yeah, he's a big guy.
Asking him the same, arguably far-fetched question, but it's an irresistible question when you realize again that when he was 13 years old, he was at that weight level. So why would he not at some point once again graduate toward that kind of physical presence?
Yeah, that would be insane though. That's what 68, 75, 205, and then heavyweight. It's 4 weight classes total.
Well, and again, the way he looks, the way he talks, the background, the clearly American element of him, etc. It's all hugely attractive within the marketing chemistry of the boxing culture as we now know it.
Jim, in terms of this fight, because we are doing a preview for it, what would you say are the keys for Benavidez, and what would you say are the keys for Andrade coming into this?
Keys for Benavidez: get inside of Andrade's jab and his style, and somehow create danger and damage. Keys for Andrade: continue to manipulate the opponent through a style that basically keeps you safe and keeps you out of damage range, and score, land punches. And Andrade, in a situation like this, is only looking for a knockout if Benavidez makes some massive strategic mistake and sets the table for him to do that. Otherwise, what's logical for Andrade is to walk out with a unanimous decision in a fight that some of the audience finds less interesting than they wanted it to be, and continue to go down the road with his record intact. What makes sense for Benavidez is to go in and find a way to destroy a guy who has not been destroyed.
Do you think there's a ton of pressure on either or fighter to have a spectacular type performance in order to entice Canelo? And if they don't, you got to be thinking like, hey, Canelo's going to look at this performance and be like, hey, that wasn't good enough to excite me to have a fight with said winner.
Well, it's an old story in boxing, and this is another classic case. It's one thing to win the fight. It's another to win in the mind of the audience the right to fight the champion because of the way that you won it. That's harder for Andrade than it is for Benavidez because of the differences in their styles. If Benavidez is able to fight his fight and impose his style on Andrade and come out with a win, the audience is going to want to see him against Canelo. There's no question about that. And it just becomes a matter of time and continued management of Benavidez's career and making the right choices in a sequence that leads connectively toward a Canelo fight. The audience is going to want to see it if he can win against Demetrius Andrade. Andrade, harder for him to win the audience, maybe easier for him to win the fight. So if Andrade comes out with the kind of decision that we suspect he's hunting for, tactical control of the fight, limit to the damage and the fireworks, win rounds quietly but comfortably, moving forward with a compelling argument that he can be a tough matchup for Canelo. Harder sale because the audience is not going to be clamoring for it. But when you're good, you're good. And when you're unbeaten, you're convincingly good. And so there's a path for both fighters to put themselves into a position to fight Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, that's Benavidez. I think there's more momentum there from the fans to have a fight with Canelo, and not only that, given he's been the interim and the mandatory for the past 2.5 years. I know Canelo's been just hounded with questions about why aren't you fighting Benavidez next? Why aren't you fighting Benavidez next instead of all these other fights? But an interesting thing that he brought up, he mentioned a few months back when he was in his prep for Charlo, like, hey, you guys said the same thing to me about Golovkin. Why aren't you fighting Golovkin? Why aren't you fighting Golovkin? Look what I did to that guy. Like, come on, you guys, like, give me a break. Like, I'm gonna.
Well, what he proved against Golovkin and what he showed again against Charlo, although not nearly against the same kind of firepower, he has a great chin. And a great chin, as Canelo has, gives you a lot of ways to control the fight. Because you can make a mistake here and there. You can get hit with a shot here and there, as he did against Golovkin. But he weathered every one of them. And that put him in a position to go forward as a boxer, throw more punches in the late couple of rounds, win the fight, even by very close, disputable decision. And so Canelo has done what he has to do to be in the position that he's in, and in that position he gets to call the tune. If he wants to fight a winning David Benavidez next, that's his choice. If he wants to fight somebody else other than Benavidez, that's his choice too. He's still Canelo Alvarez, as he proved against Charlo.
Yeah, he calls the shots. That's for sure. Jim, I got to ask you this too. Now that it's official, it was rumored that this was going to happen with Showtime exiting boxing, but now it's confirmed. This Benavidez show will be their last pay-per-view. They'll have one more final show mid-December in Minneapolis, and that's it. They're done. Just overall, your thoughts and perspective on that.
I was astonished that HBO, their new ownership, decided against going forward with boxing. I'm a little bit surprised that Showtime is deciding against going forward with boxing. I'd have to sit in a room with the chief executives of both companies to get a clear perspective in my head as to why this is happening. I'm sure there are numbers on a spreadsheet that could show me the reason why, but I'm not privy to those numbers at this moment. Those are my thoughts. My feelings, it's lamentable. It's continuation of the process by which our audience is being shrunk in size and magnified in intensity. And this all began in 1971 with Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier in the fight of the century. That was the beginning of the overall process of attenuation in audience size by which we're continuing toward destinations and pedestals going forward on which the size of the audience is not as meaningful as the intensity of the audience desire and the price that they're willing to pay to see the fight. So I've heard Amazon, I've heard Apple, and who knows which platforms might consider coming into boxing. But I hope that there's somebody with an identity like that, an audience galvanizing type identity, who can continue to coalesce larger numbers of fans to watch the fights. I hope, and that's all I can do.
Is that better, having a smaller but more dedicated niche for a sport, or a larger, more casual audience for a sport?
I think it depends on the fight and the moment. It depends on the fighters who are involved and how they feel about it. Larry Merchant told me several times that on the night of the fight of the century in 1971, Ali got to the ring first and was waiting for Frazier to arrive. And he was bouncing up and down on his feet. And what he was saying to himself was $2.5 million, $2.5 million. He couldn't believe that one appearance in the ring was going to earn him that kind of money. Now, that's, I'm not going to say it's a pittance, but it's not something that has a fighter bouncing up and down in wonder, thinking about it. We've gotten a lot more accustomed to that kind of payoff. So it's the nature of the beast. It's the way of the world. When I taught my course here at the University of North Carolina, one of the subjects I introduced on the first day of the course and then hammered over and over throughout the semester was changes in technology occasion all sorts of other changes, organizational changes, content changes, personnel changes, differences in the way the news is presented. If you get up in the morning now and you get your first dose of news from your social media feed, you are asking to be subdivided, you're asking to be colonized, you're asking to be treated as a devotee of a particular content approach, and that wasn't the case for all those years of commercial television networks being the primary providers. So it's just that, the nature of the world and the nature of the technological landscape within which we live, that all sorts of things with regard to the presentation of content are changing as we go forward.
Yeah, it was always told to me it's good to be in a niche, because in a niche you have super passionate potential consumers of said niche, and that translates to dollars. But yeah, I don't know. Like you would think, for when you compare boxing to the other sports, all the other sports are on network television, and you would think for a sport to become huge, for boxing to reclaim its grandeur like it had back in the 50s and 60s, it has to be on network television to be able to give it access to the biggest possible amount of people to watch said product.
Every National Football League game, virtually every NBA game, is available via a commercial television network on a national telecast. Can any of those athletes make as much from one appearance as Canelo Alvarez can make before going into the ring one time. No, they can't.
Oh.
And Canelo only has to do it once every 6 months. An NBA player plays an 82 game schedule and then faces maybe 20 or 25 more games in the playoffs. So the equation is, how much do you have to work for? How much money are you going to get? Oh yeah, NFL players and NBA players make fantastic, extraordinary salaries. Can they make what Canelo makes? No, not per appearance. And that's the difference between a niche sport, which thrives on the intensity of the audience devotion, and a mainstream sport, which thrives on the size and regularity and repetition of the audience. Two different things.
Interesting. Jim, I got to ask you too. There's a tweet that Oscar sent out about bringing you in to commentate his fights on DAZN. Did you see that tweet? And has there been any movement on that?
I love Oscar. I was grateful that he tweeted what he tweeted. It only appeared over the weekend. I went to see Jerry Seinfeld Saturday night in Durham, and I saw on my cell phone what Oscar had tweeted while I was sitting in the audience for Seinfeld. I thought that was kind of poetic. You know, I'm watching one of the biggest stars in the last 30 or 40 years of American entertainment, and now his career is winding toward the end. I'm looking at a tweet that I love from somebody I covered through all of his competitive career, and now he's a promoter, participating from outside. Seinfeld sometimes is a producer now, etc. So there was a direct one-to-one analogy. Any progress? No. Today's Monday, right? Yeah, I don't know of anything shifting in the landscape as the result of what Oscar tweeted, but I was grateful for the sentiment. That's for sure.
Oscar, make it happen. All boxing
I'd like
fans.
to see the rematch between Oscar and Trinidad, but we're probably past that at this point.
No, yeah, I would say what 20 something years past that, right?
Right. I'm not going to get too overwhelmingly expectant or excited. I am very expectant and excited to be going back to ringside for ppv.com, and I invite every viewer or listener of boxing who wants to share with Lance and me what we say during the fight to do so. All you have to do is become a part of ppv.com.
Well, I hope this gets turned into a social clip. And Oscar, if you're listening, I think I speak on behalf of boxing fans. We do miss you behind the mic, Jim. And I would think that'd be a great move on their end to bring you back into the fold. I think I would certainly enjoy that, and fans would certainly love to see you in that role again.
Well, from your lips and Oscar's tweet to DAZN's ears. But again, this is Monday.
Yeah, let's see what happens, Jim. Let's see what happens. Last thing I want to touch on with you, Jim, is when we spoke last, we were talking about how Tyson Fury, how much bigger he is than all these other heavyweights, and if you were to match him, era by era, how he maybe could have beaten a lot of these all-time great heavyweights. So we say this, and then we see him go to Saudi Arabia, right? Go in there against an MMA fighter, pro debut in boxing, who knocks him down, who hurts him, and it just throws everything all into disarray. Well, what are your thoughts overall on what happened and how he matches up now with Usyk?
Based on all of my predilections and the things that I was saying earlier about what I said to my class in COM 490 here at UNC, several weeks ago, I turned on and watched his reality television show. It's available on my stream. I forget which network it is. Is it Netflix? And so I watched the reality television show, and I thought to myself, what a distraction. What a negative for somebody in his position who needs to keep focus going forward toward events. What I've told you the night that I watched that, this is going to be his comeuppance when he goes into the ring against a guy like Ngannou. No, I would never have said that. But when I saw what happened against Ngannou, my first thought was, well, when you decide to take time doing a reality television show, instead of minding your business in training camp and going forward as a serious heavyweight champion, you run the risk that this kind of thing can take place. And oh, by the way, just to do a shout out to another one of my former friends and colleagues and somebody whom I'll always love, Mike Tyson was in Ngannou's camp. Mike Tyson was very classically trained as a boxer by Cus D'Amato. I think Ngannou did a very wise thing by hiring and bringing in someone who could talk to him about legitimate boxing craft and how he could adapt and employ some things that Mike could teach him against Fury. I tend to believe that Mike was a factor in producing that result. So at the end of the day, congratulations to Netflix for disturbing the momentum of Fury's career. Congratulations to Ngannou and Tyson for taking advantage of that. And we'll see what happens next.
Does this change your mind about the Usyk fight? Do you now favor
Yes.
Usyk in that fight? Yes, it does.
100%. Yes, absolutely. Because no interruption in your focus, concentration, and devotion to your boxing career is a one-off. It all becomes a part of the permanent pattern. And I'm not sure at this moment, despite all of the overwhelmingly laudatory things that I have said about Tyson Fury in the past, and what a great heavyweight champion I thought he was as a competitor, I'm not sure that he can now get back up on the horse and ride it the same way he rode it prior to all of the steps that took him toward the Ngannou mistake. And I don't want to take any credit away from Ngannou. He did a great thing and created a memorable night in combat sports. But I think Tyson very demonstrably opened the door for that. And again, you want to do a reality TV show? Get rid of your other career first.
Ah, yeah. Hey, so yeah, we saw Manny. Manny was able to juggle so many things at once, and it never affected him. But yeah, there are some fighters that can do it, and there are others that, yeah, it does demonstrably affect them.
Manny had Freddie Roach. And I think Freddie Roach is in some ways uniquely gifted as a trainer. Freddie had the capital with Manny to say, you know what? Now is the moment when you need to buckle down, focus, concentrate, and go forward with this. I don't know if the people in Tyson's camp have the same level of authority and clarity with him that Freddie had with Manny. Freddie had a very special relationship with Manny, and it showed up in the ring.
Yeah, part of this whole thing is what's happening in Saudi Arabia. You know, the ones that are putting up the money, putting on these cards. Did you by chance see the mega card announcement that's happening on the 23rd, that they have Joshua on, Wilder on, all these heavyweights, and just overall, what's your reaction to this? It seems that like Saudi will now be the place where all the biggest fights in the sport happen.
Well, if money is the sole arbiter for all of these things, then why would it not be Saudi Arabia? Their ability to concentrate wealth is probably unmatched because they don't have a representative government. They have a dictatorial authority to do what they want to do. So and they have, you know, oil money, which still has not been closed off by any and all the forces that try to operate against the petroleum economy. So it's not shocking, and I don't doubt for a second that it's possible, working for PPV.com, that I could wind up at some moment ringside in Riyadh. I don't rule it out, and that would give me more of an observational background from which to make comments about this. But for the time being, it's the obvious statement that anybody in my position, your position, could make. Money talks. The rest of us walk, and on we go.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see that we always knew that, like you said, money talks. And that's what it took to get all those promoters, especially Eddie and Frank Warren, who have been beefing for such a long time, to sit at the table and make something like that happen.
100%. There is no other reason why those fighters are going to Riyadh and their promoters are making agreements to send them there, other than the pile of money that's on the table.
Prize fighting, right?
Prize fighting. Perfectly said. Very perfectly said, Marco.
All right, Jim. Well, hey, man, it was a great chat. Great catching up with you. You'll be there in Vegas ringside, so I'll make sure to say hi to you as well in Vegas. Just one more time, just let everybody know you will be on this live chat feature on ppv.com, giving your insights and your commentary and your observations for this Andrade Benavidez fight this Saturday.
There were some fans at the Canelo Charlo fight. There were some fans who had the misapprehension that they were going to hear me speak, and there was considerable disappointment expressed early on in that fight from people on ppv.com. Said, "Hey, wait a minute! I thought that I would hear Jim Lampley call the fight." That isn't what happens. The people who work for the pay-per-view distributor are the people still whose voices are heard calling the fight live. I am doing live chat, texting onto a screen with Lance Pugmire, delivering written words, not spoken words. So you don't hear Jim Lampley's voice, but you do get to see the things that Jim Lampley might be saying in his voice if he was calling the fight on the air. So it's another form, and it's what I've been offered. It's what I was asked to do. It's what I'm being now rewarded to do. So I appreciate those fans who have the patience and the understanding to say, all right, I buy the pay-per-view, I tune into ppv.com, I get to hear what Jim and Lance have to say in my mind. Because there were some people who actually wrote in and said, when I read the words on the screen, I can hear your voice. That's very flattering.
Yeah, no, I would share that sentiment as well. Just I hope the universe hears this conversation, and in some form we see you back, like I said, on the mic. Jim, is always a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate the time.
Oscar used to have a lot of control of the universe. You know, maybe Oscar still has sufficient control of the universe to move the meter. I love him, and that's all I can say about that. Thank you, Marco.
All right, big ups, big thanks to Jim Lampley for sharing his time and giving us a preview of Benavidez versus Andrade. But not only that, chiming in on the heavyweights and what's happening over there with this December 23rd card, which is, I don't know, I just kind of chuckle, man. Like, all these promoters have, you know, I would say everyone in life has a bit of an ego, but especially in sports, you know, like NFL team owners, they have big egos. Anyone in business, you know, it's like a big D competition. You know, whose freaking D is bigger? Let's put them out all on the table. Like, look at Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. But all it took was just the Saudis to come in and be like, yo, we're giving you this amount of money, make the damn fight. Drop your dumb beefs, drop your, you know, which they should have been doing for the good of the sport for years and years and years now, dropping their egos and making the fights that us, the paying public, the fans, want to see. They should have been doing this since who knows when, but you know, it took unlimited amounts of money, a blank check, for them to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll drop the beef. You know, all it was money, which is funny. You know, it's all it was money. It wasn't for the. I want to think it was for the good of the sport. I like to think like, no, yeah, they are doing it for the good of the sport, but it's like, come on, if the money that wasn't being offered to them, or the money that was being offered to them wasn't being offered to them, would they be making that card in Riyadh on December 23rd with Joshua and Wilder as main and co-main events? No, they wouldn't. Not at all. So that's why when they say like, oh yeah, we're doing this for the fans, like I get a tinge of cynicism attached to that. But that was Jim. The fight happens this weekend. Andrade versus Benavidez. We have this poll running right now that we put up 34 minutes ago. 160 votes so far. Wow, this is actually pretty close. 56% of you pick David Benavidez to win. 44% pick Demetrius Andrade. Marvo says, it's hard to beat 350 amateur fights. Skills pay your bills. Experience makes exceptional money. Man, that's so true, bro. That is very true. Yeah, you know, but then again, pressure breaks pipes. You throw basement. You You throw water in the basement, you know? See what happens. You see what happens. Hey, I'm going to give you guys an extra bonus right here. We caught up with Ryan Garcia yesterday, and this interview made a lot of the media rounds, a lot of headlines generated. Already 100,000 views on this interview that we did with Ryan, but I'm going to go ahead and play it where Ryan reacts to Shakur's fight, wanting a rematch with Gervonta Davis, saying that, yo, Gervonta's not better than me. He didn't fight me at my real weight. He put all these things about me. That wasn't the real me. I'm still better than him. If I need to get past Teo, if I need to get past Haney, I will do so. So this is an extra bonus, an extra treat for you guys. Here's Ryan Garcia ripping ESPN, whom he calls disgustingly biased commentary. So let's go ahead and play this clip with Ryan Garcia.
Ryan, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. Last night, we saw Shakur Stevenson. Everybody saw you tweeting, basically, man, wake me up when this is over with. Give us your talk to us about last night and what disappointed you the most.
With him, it's not even about like I don't really get like too ticked off too many people, but he does talk like really arrogant shit, and he is a little bit like that in person. Ever since amateurs just walking around like his shit don't stink, and it pisses me off. Like I was in Vegas one day talking to his friend Keyshawn. We were having a great time, great conversation. I simply said, "Hey, yo, Shakur, come over." Blah blah blah. He goes and just looks at me and goes, "Nah, you gotta come over here." Like some arrogant shit. I'm like, bro, what is that? Like, I'm like, we're all on this journey together. We're all just trying to, figure shit out. It's just like you don't gotta act like that, bro. Like we already know how this game goes. Like I'm not trying to be, who's cooler, who's not, so it pissed me off. So that probably gave me like a little bit more motivation to kind of like, throw a little tweet out there. But honestly, he didn't fight good at all. He was scared. He didn't fight. It's so biased. That commentary is disgusting. I was disgusted by the commentary. If Shakur don't throw a lot of punches, he's controlling the fight. If somebody else don't throw a lot of punches, it's, oh man, he's reluctant. Oh, he's hesitant. It's just so biased. Like I can't even watch ESPN fights no more. I really can't. It's so disgusting. At least on the Zone, at least they keep it real. They don't keep it real on ESPN. They just, I'm like, oh my God, this is almost unwatchable. I might want to put on mute. And I like Timothy Bradley. I grew up with him. But his commentary, man, you gotta be real, man. You can't be like that. It's not good for boxing. You gotta bring back Jim Lampley and Larry Merchant. Well, Larry Merchant is a little bit, he's out there. He talks shit about Floyd all the time. But Jim Lampley, Roy Jones Jr., man, I miss those guys, man. I'm tired of hearing these other dudes, man. It's horrible. It's really horrible. Like ask the public how bad that commentary is. It is disgusting. It literally makes your stomach turn. I had to turn it off.
What did you think about Mario Navarrete and
Emmanuel? Oh man, that was a banger. Oh my gosh, I was like, dang, Navarrete. I thought Navarrete won. He was looking nice. He got a weird style, but man, he's something. I like he knows what he's doing. That's what I like about him. That everybody's trying to figure out like what he does wrong or not. He knows what he's doing. He's staying relaxed. He's staying in control of himself, and he gets to what he got to get to. Robinson, man, what's his name? I forgot.
Robinson Concepcion.
Yeah, man, he got so much heart, man. He fought his ass off, man. Those first 4 rounds, he was blowing Navarrete at the water, and he got dropped. But man, he showed so much heart. I would have edged it out to Navarrete, but it was one hell of a fight.
When we started talking about Ryan Garcia, as far as you go, you already fought Tank, who widely is considered as the best in that little area. Getting Shakur's performance last night, would you be into or open to a matchup with Shakur Stevenson?
I'm not worried about worrying about who's gonna fight who and how that's gonna go. I'm worried about me. I want to get my rematch. I want to get that run back at this weight, at the right weight. He knows that it wasn't who I really was, and I don't care what anybody says. That's not me. I don't fight like that, and I'm way better than that, and I'm better than him. I don't care if he beat me, but I'm better than him. Give me my rematch, and I'll beat him. But it's fine. I'm gonna build myself up again. I'm gonna keep winning. And if I gotta go through a Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney to get that, I'm gonna do it. But I need my rematch because he's not better than me. I don't care. I don't care what happens. I don't care. I'm better than him. I could beat him. And I just gotta prove myself now. And I like this position. I'm gonna earn my stripes. I'm not gonna take time off. After I go through Duarte, I'm gonna go right back in February, March. And I'm gonna go right back. And whoever, I don't care whoever. And 140, that's gonna be my weight class. 140, 147. And I'm taking both of those, both of them, 140 and 147. Anybody, 140 or 147, whoever wants it. So let's run it.
Ryan, my last thing here. Week after your fight, Devin Haney, Regis Prograis, San Francisco, California, 140-pound crown, Regis's 140-pound crown. How do you see that fight going? Who do you give the edge to early?
You got to give the edge to Devin Haney, pure boxer. Throws a lot more punches than like say a Shakur Stevenson and like just knows what he's doing in there. I like his game, and I think that his game is going to be just too much for Regis. I think that Regis got a puncher's chance. Don't get me wrong. I think he just don't have enough experience. Started the game late, and just kind of like he fights like lethargic almost, and gets hit with some good shots, and just. I don't know. I just don't think he's sharp enough to beat Devin Haney.
Lastly, for me, Saudi looks like the new destination for boxing, Ryan. Can you see yourself fighting in Saudi Arabia here in the future?
I'm open to anything. A lot of these boxers gain some big paydays, but to me, it's just about throwing great events. Wherever it's going to be at, Vegas, Saudi Arabia, wherever, I could bring joy to people is what I want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. If Saudi Arabia want to give me a lot of money, I'll do it. But it has to be a fight that is going to be entertaining for people, and something that, makes sense. But, yeah, that's cool. I've never been there, but I see that everybody's saying great things about it. Like, it's so nice and, everybody's so kind. And, they talk about the money a lot. But, I mean, it's not really about the money. Look how generous these people are. They're giving away Rolexes and cars and stuff. To me, that's like, dang, that's cool. But I know they have a lot of money, but that's still pretty generous type of people.
A picture that you posted online the other day, bro. Absolutely chiseled. You're usually in excellent shape anyway. Tell us about camp with Derek James. How have things been? And where do you expect them to go on the 2nd?
Well, yeah, this camp's just been it's been just much different from all my camps since 2020, since I've been with Canelo camp. So it's my focus, it's my commitment. It's just everything that you should be doing as a fighter. So it's much different now. With Derek, again, great trainer. And he's been we've been working on a lot of great things, and this is the sharpest I've been since 2020, since when you see me knocking out people left and right. So you're gonna see something special, because man, I'm just so excited. I can't wait for you guys to watch this. I really can't.
I've seen the videos of you work out. I've seen the videos of you under the tutelage of Derek James. It looked like there's been a lot of teaching going on. What's been the biggest thing that you think that Derek James has been able to add to Ryan Garcia's bag?
It's everything, from footwork to, just philosophy and things like that. Derek's, he's one of the trainers that he don't let you let up. Can't let up on any day, no matter if you had a good day. He always reminds you, can't get too happy, can't get too relaxed. So for me, just having that constant reminder of just not compromising any day, just make sure that we put the foot on people's necks and put that foot on full throttle. We're not playing games. Like it's just a different mentality right now. It's really mentality. It's really just me being me, but just 10 times better. Like I'm telling you, I haven't felt this way in so long. It's gonna be magical. I'm telling you, it's gonna be magical when you see me fight again. You're gonna see. You're gonna see. I mean, There's so much I want to say, but we'll have to save that energy for December.
And is that part of being with Derek James? Derek James not really a huge talker. Has he kind of rubbed off on you in that way?
No, Derek talks. He just don't talk to you guys. He talks all the time. He's funny, man. He's a good character, good person to be around with. He's always doing things for charity and foundations and things like that. So, being around that is cool too. So he took me to go talk to some kids. That was nice. That was refreshing. And just being in Dallas, really being in Dallas is really what has helped me. All I've been doing is boxing, training, and going to church. Really, those are the two things I've been doing out here. And it feels good to be committed again and just love boxing again, in a different way. As a competitor, as a guy that's hungry. I like this position. Like I love this position right now. I just know that something good is coming out of, what happened last time around. Like something great is going to happen.
When we start talking about a person who loves the sport and is dedicated themselves to the sport, a lot of boxing heads around would mention Oscar Duarte in that same sentence.
I don't know I don't know nothing about him. I don't know if he trains hard. I mean, we're all supposed to train hard. We're all supposed to do our job, but I mean, we're all got to be focused. But there's a difference here. There's gonna be difference. I'm way more experienced than him. I have way more tools than him. He don't have a lot of options with me. So I'm gonna know what's coming at me, and he's not gonna know what's coming at him. It's just simple. Oscar is gonna come and try to fight and try to make it a tough fight, but I mean, how tough can you be when you keep getting punched in the face? You can't be that tough, So I expect him to bring a hard fight, but I don't expect him to I don't see him to win any rounds. I don't see him winning any rounds. I don't see him even really, doing damage. Anything can happen in boxing, but as sharp as I am right now, I just don't see it happening.
So is it safe to say that Ryan Garcia looks to come back in a big way on December?
In a huge way. In a huge way. Mark my words, in a huge way. This is gonna be what you guys are looking for. That loss woke something else up, and it's the worst thing that happened to all the other opponents is that I lost. That's the worst thing that happened. And man, I'm telling you, I'm coming back. You're gonna make a movie out of this. I promise. It'll make a movie. Like shit. Like this dude just lost, but then comes back and just takes over the game. I'm telling you, I'm sharp right now. Sharp, fast. You're gonna see something special. I promise you, man. Special. Be there. I'm telling you, just watch this fight. Not because of Duarte. Duarte's tough, but I'm gonna make an example. It's gonna be an example of what's to come. Mark my words. It's gonna be an example of what's to come. I'm dead serious right now. I've never been this committed since 2020. I didn't even care about boxing because I went through my shit and I started going backwards and I just lost everything, whole concentration. But something about me losing just woke me up. I'm like, okay, all right, let me think about what's going on. I had to cut a lot of stuff off in my life. I just had to know how you have to do this. You can't disrespect the game. But now I'm back on track and I'm on fire. So December 2nd, I'm going to make it an example. It ain't about Duarte. It ain't about my comeback. Not about nothing of that. It's about Ryan Garcia is making an example of who I am. You're going to see who I am. I don't care about the critics. I don't care about what you think about my last fight. I don't care that I got dropped. I don't care that I got stopped. I don't care about none of that. You're going to see who Ryan Garcia is. Make any comment you want. I'm coming after it. I got everything on lock right now.
Well, there you have it, folks. Young Rye, Super Rye, Ryan Garcia, King Rye, whatever you want to call him. There he is in the flesh.
I might change my name
December
to
2nd,
Super Rye.
Toyota.
I like that, Super Rye. I like Super.
I like it. Super Rye.
I kind of like that. Super Ryan Garcia. That's kind of cool. Ryan Super Garcia.
I used to always love. I used to always love when Zab Judah was introduced, man, and Michael Buffer would go, Zab Super. Right? The way he builds it up.
I kind of like that. I like that a lot,
man. Well, there you go. I'll be
All
the
right.
first one to say it. Marcus Hayes, Fight Hub TV, with my guy, Super Ryan Garcia, December 2nd, Toyota Center, Texas, Houston, Texas. Ryan Garcia be in the house. Sell it out. Golden Board Promotions. Ryan, I'd like to thank you guys for your time. We'll see you guys on the backside, brother. Take care.
Let's go.
That was our Marcus Hayes and Ryan Garcia. Maybe the birth of a new nickname for Ryan. That's actually kind of catchy. Super Ryan Garcia. One of you guys had a interesting question for me, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. Let me see if I can find it in the chat. Go ahead and hit the like, guys. Subscribe if this is the first time you guys are watching us over here at Fight Up TV. Share as well. And another reminder too, this contest that we're having with I'm giving away 2 VIP tickets, courtesy of our partners, Stagefront VIP, for this Haney versus Progress fight to watch it live in San Francisco. 2 VIP tickets, which includes watching the fight in a VIP box, meet and greet, merch, and a pre-party before the fight that you'll be invited to as well. So let me drop the link before I get to the question in the chat so you guys can go ahead and participate. I got to find the link. Actually, it should be still, boom, right here. I just go ahead and I just went ahead and dropped it for you guys. In order to win, you must be followed or following us via IG and Twitter. Subscribe to the channel, and then you just got to refer it to 2 friends. We're announcing the winners on December 2nd. So good luck. Someone's going to win. Someone won the last one with the Joshua fight, and someone won the Triple G one. So it's super easy. Go ahead. It's a gift for you guys, and whoever wins it, man, big ups, because this is something, if I had no part to do with this contest, I would totally sign up. But I believe it was from Mike Moz. Mike asked, let's see here. Where's your question, Mike? Marcos, what's your opinion on Showtime leaving boxing? Do you think it will affect the sport? And what have you heard, or if you know where PBC Boxing will end up going as far as the streaming network? On the latter part of that question, I have no idea. I only know what you guys have heard with what's only been reported on the news, that they're working on a pay-per-view distribution type deal with Amazon, that there's talks with Netflix, and that there's you know what? I don't even know if there's been engagement with DAZN. I read a thing that they don't really want to go that route. So that's all I've really heard, to be honest. In terms of them leaving boxing, do you think it'll affect the sport? It's a strange time right now. Everything's shifting towards streaming. I do think the era of the big purses for whatever fights is over. Getting like a Danny Garcia versus a Brandon Rios, getting like 2-3 million for that fight if you're a Danny Garcia. I think that's over. I think a lot of these purses are going to have to come down, because a lot of these, from what I've heard from friends in the industry that work for other networks, a lot of these streaming networks are cutting their budgets, and a lot of these streaming networks, they don't overpay like that. It's more of how many viewers is this thing getting, and their structure is not like what Showtime was in terms of having those types of purses. Now, leaving boxing, Showtime leaving boxing, will it affect the sport? I think so. It's hard, because look, at the end of the day, Showtime was a network, but it was a premium network, so it wasn't available to everyone. You have to pay a premium in order to have Showtime. So in essence, there was a gateway there for boxing fans to get Showtime, and regular subscribers of Showtime, like the casual people, weren't subscribing to Showtime for boxing. They were just subscribing to Showtime for their scripted series and the other entertainment offerings that they have. Me personally, I think overall, not having boxing on a terrestrial network is bad, just because of the exposure that the sport can get being on a network. And I've always, Top Rank being on ESPN is very, very good for the sport. We need more of that on the other networks, and for boxing to reach the masses, grow its fan base, and for it to become a more popular sport, it has to be on ESPN. It has to be on a big sports-centric network that has a mass reach to be able to properly market the stars and create stars and grow the sport. So it's good. So even when I hear rumblings that there's going to be budget cuts at ESPN, that the contract with Top Rank is up in 2025, and you hear people on Twitter, whether true or not, that they're thinking about not signing, which makes no sense to me. Why they would not re-sign boxing? I don't know. Maybe they'll do a turn and sign PBC, but boxing must stay on ESPN for the good of the sport. This is the other thing that I'd ask myself, like, is DAZN, a network like DAZN, good for boxing? You're taking boxing away from a network and putting it on an app, and you're shrinking its distribution even more, and the point of access to said content is even more difficult and niche. And what Jim touched on, it's about not a balance, but it's like the question I asked is, would you rather have a hardcore, rabid fan base for a sport, or a sport that's more openly accessible to a fan base so it can grow? Like, I'm of the opinion that, no, look, the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, MLB, all major sports are on terrestrial television. And for boxing to be a major sport again, it needs to be on terrestrial television. Though we are seeing a lot of these sports now moving over to the streaming side. Maybe DAZN was ahead of the curve. Maybe this is how it's all going to be. All major sports are going to leave terrestrial networks because these distribution deals are so expensive, where these leagues start making their own streaming apps to show these the games and all that. I feel it does hurt the sport in terms of how many potential eyes it can be seen. But it's a really weird time, man. Maybe this is the beginning of the change where all sports in 5 years, we're going to be, looking back at this conversation and thinking like, oh yeah, this was the beginning. All sports are now on apps. No one watches terrestrial television, I think, as much as they used to maybe 10, 15 years ago. So MAW says, in my honest opinion, we need grassroots boxing on regular networks to grow the sport and grow new prospects. Give them publicity to familiarize viewers before they are willing to pay pay-per-views for quality fights. I would say, Yolanda says, I would say ESPN maybe be good, but they may go to Netflix or Amazon route. Let's see some more of your comments here. Let's see. Oh, no. I saw something that caught my eye, but I think the comment went away. But yeah, that's my take on it. It's I want to say it's not good for the sport. But like I said, maybe this is the beginning of something new, where with perspective and with time, we're like, hey, you know what? Actually, this is where all media was gravitating towards. They were just the zone, and the others were ahead of the curve. Amazon Prime, I want to say a lot of people have Amazon Prime. Thing is, people use Amazon Prime to shop. That's its primary feature. Yeah, Amazon Prime has its own, TV service and great programming from what I've told. I watched The Lord of the Rings, that was on Amazon Prime. I watched The Boys, Invincible, which is a great freaking animation, by the way. But still, for the most part, Netflix, Disney Plus are like my go-to streaming. And I feel like a lot of people, when's the last time you heard someone say like, yeah, I'm going to go on Amazon Prime to watch this or that? It's not used as much as the other streaming platforms. So verdict is out is if this is good or bad. But like I said, every other major sport is on a terrestrial network. And I really strongly feel that for the sport to grow, to continue growing and be popular, for fighters to continue growing their brand and their mainstay, one, they need to do interviews with us because we help. Don't get me started on that. Us digital channels literally have been carrying this sport the last 15 years with the coverage that we've provided. All these other newspapers, all these other big traditional media outlets haven't been bringing the boxing fans content and interviews based around their favorite fighters for this long. And that's one thing that I could say with conviction. Us and the other channels have been carrying this sport and growing this sport for the last 10, 15 years. With that said, though, it's going to be interesting. Next year is going to be interesting. That's for sure. So you guys, make sure to give us one last round of likes, share, and enter the contest that we're giving away. The 2 VIP tickets for Prograis versus Haney. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of content coming through. Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez will be having a press conference. Tomorrow, we will have all the content, all the poppin' stuff from that event happening tomorrow on the channel. And of course, this weekend, David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade will fight on pay-per-view. We'll be there on the ground giving you guys the best coverage we can give you all throughout fight week and on fight night. So thank you guys. Appreciate the time. Appreciate sharing part of your Monday with us. Thank you. Share this, spread the word, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on social media at Fight Up TV. Follow me personally on Twitter or on Instagram at Hey, it's Marcos V. Appreciate it, gang. See you guys on the flip side. Have a good night and a good day. Hope Monday was productive and great for you. Peace out.